Hi, I'm Kelly with High on Life Hypnosis. I just wanted to start a blog series, and I started doing one over the summer when I was doing my road trip. But now I want to do some about every day. I'm starting my hypnosis practice and really getting it thriving. And I wanted to do something today about getting your body thriving. So I'm going to start to learn how to make kombucha, fermented black tea. So basically, the way I came about that is I tried it. I didn't like the taste at all. Then after about 5 of them, I got used to the taste and I just started to feel great. And I started to learn that through this fermenting the black tea, you get all these great probiotics in your system. And then I discovered that 95% of your serotonin is produced in your gut, and really getting your gut aligned with your heart and your head just makes you so much happier. And I feel great every day that I drink kombucha. However, when you buy kombucha at the store, it can be about $4 a bottle, so it's pretty pricey. So I'm gonna start making my own. So what I have here in my setup is I have just some regular sugar. You can get all organic. I just got the cheap stuff. It's not as big of a deal. It's still non-GMO. This is just with the fermentation process. The bacteria in culture likes to eat the sugar, and that's how you get the probiotics and just get the fermentation process going. And I also just got some regular old black tea. This is like an Irish breakfast black tea. I thought about getting like an Earl Grey or something like that, but I think it has some sort of oils in it. And apparently this organism called a SCOBY, which is a symbolic organism of symbolic culture organism of bacteria and yeast. Anyways, it's just a big disc looking thing that's going to go in this jar when it's filled with the tea. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm doing a 2-gallon continuous brew. So the way that that'll work is every couple weeks I'll be able to pull off my kombucha tea for the second fermentation process. So this is just the first kind of process of getting started. So I just got this jar last night and I put some apple cider vinegar in it and swirled it and just kind of let it sit overnight. That just kills any kind of like bacteria that might have been on it. The big thing is you got to keep everything pretty clean for this. Not as clean as like brewing beer, but pretty darn clean. So the way it starts is I'm going to need, and you can use distilled water if you want to be perfect, but we have really good well water. So I'm going to boil 8 cups of water for this 2-gallon. So basically what I'm going to do is 16 tea bags, 8 cups of water, boiled, and I'm going to boil the water first, then seep the tea for however many minutes. I got to look and see how long. But then I'm going to pour it in here and fill the rest with water so it cools off quicker, because you want it at room temperature for when I put the SCOBY in it. I'm going over to my friend's house a little bit later to pick up the SCOBY. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So just going to get all my tea bags rolling, get my water going. So, and I'm going to fast forward through some of this process because it takes a while. Okay, so we got the water boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this off, throw in the 16 tea bags, and then this is also going to require 2 cups of sugar. Alright, so then 2 cups of sugar. I didn't quite get all of it in there. There we go. I'm just looking for kind of like a big spoon to stir it up. Get that sugar dissolved. Give it that few minutes to seep. And while that's going on, I'm actually going to clean out this because that's where it's going to be going. So, what I'm going to do, take my jar. It's got all that apple cider vinegar stuff in there. So I'm just swirling it around a little more and shaking it up. And this is actually pretty cool. It's called a buffing bonnet, which is like what you would buff cars with. But I found it and I haven't used it, and it's like a perfect size for this as a cap. So set that there. Now I'm going to just dump out this apple cider vinegar. And whoo, it's a strong one. And I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands before I get into messing with this too. Yeah, I think you can see just fine. Wash my hands. And then gotta come over here and gonna just use this thing. It's got like a bar. Kind of rinse it out a little. And actually, to start fermented tea, you can actually start with, instead of a little bit of SCOBY starter juice, like, so basically to start your tea you need some of the starter juice, right? Some of that kombucha juice from the batch before. But if you don't have any, you can actually use apple cider vinegar, which is cool, and that's why, you know, I clean this with apple cider vinegar, and it's going to be fine if it needs anything else. So anyway, so that's cleaned up enough. So I'm going to throw these back away, and this has only got like a minute left to seep that. And it honestly, it's probably seeped enough. I mean, it's really dark. Like if you can like see into that, it's like super dark. Well, it's black tea, so it probably should be dark. Anyways, all right, guys. So I think it's long enough, you know, for the seepage. Do a quick like swirl with this. Like, yeah, you know, let them tea bags kind of drip out their last little drip. Maybe even take this spoon with it and press it a little. Get all that tea juices out. See, that's a lot of tea actually, if you can see that. And then I'm going to dump this in there. Just be careful when you do this, guys, because it's hot. And I don't know if I'm going to do it that great either. Okay. So that's like the concentrated. This is like the concentrated tea. So the big thing here is you don't want it warm for when the SCOBY goes in. So I get my cold water going, and then just gonna bring it over and boom, fill it up to probably right about in here, because I need to have some room for some of the starter juice that Sarah's gonna give me. Oh. So, but this is how you like rapidly cool your tea off too, so that you're not waiting forever. And of course, I could have just did a bigger batch of the tea. Let me turn you. And so, of course, I could have done like a bigger batch of the tea, and then because I have more time for it to cool. But why bother? You know, this is the best. This is the way like everybody does it. So. Not to say that I'm trying to be like everybody, but when you want to do a project like this, you model the people who have done it before. And so I've watched a few YouTube videos that were helpful and did my research. So basically I picked to do a continuous brew, because once you have it going, all you have to do is just, you know, fill this thing with your tea again. Like another big thing of this, just fill it with your tea. Don't pour it in piping hot, of course. But you just basically just fill another jar up and dump your tea in there, and you're starting just like that. So, so right about, it's getting to the point where it's pretty much good, because I'm going to add some more water on top of it later. Yeah, because I don't know how much starter liquid that she's going to give me, and I'm just going to pop this over top of it. Bam, and that thing is like a perfect little hat on it kind of deal. And even with that, it's still warm. So it still needs a little time to cool off to room temperature. All right, well, I'll see y'all in a little bit when I come back with the SCOBY to throw it in there. Hey, so I just got back from my friend Sarah Rose's place, and she hooked me up with a SCOBY. So now I'm going to put the SCOBY in there. So what she did is she double bagged it, and it looks like this. It looks freaking crazy. Like a big discs of just disgusting bacteria and yeast. But it's actually a live living organism. And then some of the juice in there is some of the kombucha that it was sitting in. She has a SCOBY hotel that's just full of them. So I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands because you want to make sure your hands are really clean for this. You want to really just get your hands really clean to handle this. And I think I have just the right amount of liquid in there. So now I put 2 cups of sugar in it for this batch as well. And you know, I used to be a nurse, or well, still am a nurse, you know. And washing your hands, it's really good. It's really good for you. Don't just wash your hands when making kombucha. Wash them all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but quite frequently. Alright, so my hands are clean. Let's dry them off real quick. And I'm not even going to really touch the SCOBY because, well, to me it's a little like, oh, goopy, ew, gross, oh my goodness, oh goodness. Yeah, so I get that like vibe with it. So it seems like, it looks like some sugar on the top. I might have did mine too strong, but anyways, so then I'm just going to dump in the starter liquid. So that's going to help get it all going. And then just going to put these monsters in there. Let them, oh, they just slid out. Oh, those little monsters. Okay, so, and so basically, I'm done. Now, she said just give it a swirl. So, just going to make sure this is cleaned off here. Clean that off a little. And she says just give it a nice swirl. Oh, it's still really warm, which is fine. I guess it's like room temperature warmth. So I gave it a nice swirl. And that's like perfect, really. Came out to be about the right amount of liquid. And those suckers are actually really big. Like, you can probably see them like floating around. They're like big as like big old flapjacks of these SCOBYs. And there's 2 of them in there, 2 big old monsters, because I'm doing 2 gallons. So I need a double set of monstrous sized SCOBYs in there. And then I have this buffing bonnet. This is like a bonnet that would go in like a car buffer, and that's what I'm using because it kind of seals right around it. And that's it. So now it's like, see it in 2 to 3 weeks. The only thing is I need to put this on a thing that keeps it warm. So I'll have to look into that, but I like a warming pad, and I ordered them. So it'll just be a few days, and then I'm probably going to wrap it with the warming pad. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and don't be afraid to do this at home, and you can easily find these SCOBYs for like $5, or if you find someone who makes them, they'll just give you the SCOBYs, because every time that you brew, a new one forms, and it's called like a baby SCOBY. So people who brew kombucha in their house like this always have extras.